It's tough with all the news coming in daily, especially on TikTok, Threads, and Twitter. It's really tough to. It's really tough to stay sane with all the AI news that are coming in every day. It's very tough for a developer to know what to believe and how to make decisions. And I'm unsure myself. I have switched camps often. I felt AI is the best thing ever and I can scale all my ideas to infinity. I was at the point where I completely lost trust to everything AI does, and I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, and I don't even know what to suggest or say that is gonna be right. So in this video, I guess I just want to share how my experience with AI as a very heavy user was so far and what my conclusions were from there. And then other people obviously can take that into account as like just an honest experience compared to with how they're using it and how they're not using it. So I started working with AI already when I think it was Text DaVinci 002, back when still Elon was involved in OpenAI. There was the first time I used it, just making some ad copies or getting some ad copies. Then with GPT-3 or GPT 3.5, I'm not sure. I used it heavily to get through mental roadblocks. There were still a lot of mistakes in there, but when I was working and I was like, there was something I really had no idea about, I could use it a lot to just get through that and just keep going, so that was a big benefit. Then, obviously the coding agent or the coding help came and became bigger. I used Aider, the command line tool, a lot. And during that time, I switched a lot between models, backend, force, whatever was working best at this time. It was not yet where Anthropic was really like the sole number one. And I have to say, at this time I was learning a lot from AI. So I think that's definitely, depending on where you stand compared to other traditional materials, you can get to a certain point way faster than you could do. Like if you want to learn development and you have just AI on the side and you just keep asking it a question and you utilize it to actually learn from it, that's gonna be a big difference compared to learning it the old traditional way, reading books, doing tutorials or whatever. Because you can just really, and I think the most important thing here is really curiosity. So if there's something you don't fully understand and you keep asking, and then also, but sometimes, and I will come to that a little bit later, sometimes when there's, when it feels like fishy to you, you might want to go to the root source, either the documentation or Google, or one very important thing I learned is just testing it. Sometimes you can just do a little test file and test if that's actually working, what they tell you. Because what you will learn, and that's something that I also learned in the past, the more advanced it gets, the higher the error rate is. So at one point, very often for me, and I'm fast forwarding here a bit, is at one point when I did work with some specific technology, database or infrastructure for a while, I got to the level where AI was, but then it was faster for me to just type in the statement than to ask AI, let it think, wait for the response, type it in, including the error rate. And so after the big like Claude Opus 4.5, 4.6 Claude Code era, my AI usage went down a lot. And that was one of the reasons where I felt the more, the better I got, the less benefit I had. I almost felt like, okay, I kind of like know these things, and then for some certain like command line tools, it just hallucinated way too often and there were too many mistakes. So then I had to go back to go look up the documentation, and in the documentation, then I learned what to do properly, and then I remembered that, and next time I could use it. So that's kind of like where I stand with the whole learning part with AI. But then also during the Opus time, I had a feeling I was like full on hype, where it was like, I can take over the world. I can have 17 projects working at the same time. I'm not a developer anymore, I'm an orchestrator. I have it running, I have multiple terminal sessions running. I maxed out Claude Max, and then I bought anti-gravity as well. So I had more there. And it was just like doing different projects, trying a polymarket bot, secondary project, main project, and I just keep pushing things. And the best example probably is the one where I touched the least amount of code base was the polymarket bot. And I came to a point there, I think I never touched the code base with hand on this one. I never opened my Vim or IDE for that. So there were two very important things. First, it fell for a lot of fallacies. Like, it was not making you obviously that's expectations, right? But I think there are people out there that don't know that. It fell for a lot of there was a market maker bot, and it kept mixing in like technical analyzers, weird stuff that was just not logical sense. So statistics was always something that I was very good at, and I had a really good grade. So I was just like, oh my God, that's like so wrong. A lot of things were just like really, really wrong. And then whenever you try to change something, it fucked something else up. So I was at a point where I couldn't improve the bot anymore, and obviously it was not working either, right? So, and I talked to friends, they did exactly the same thing. So I'm in a deadlock situation, right? I don't know how the code base works, I don't know all the individual parts, it takes a lot of time to dig in there. And a little bit similar, it went on my main project. So we get to a point where we got a lot of like stuff done, but it was very tough to keep going from there. And I've talked to other developers, and it seems to be like I'm not the only one. And then I needed to refactor. I needed to go back into the code, fix things, change things, smaller, delete stuff. This like polymarket bot I completely stopped. I obviously had to take care of my main project. So I went into the code base, cleaned everything up, deleted by now 40,000 lines. I almost had to refactor every single thing, because a good code base is a code base where after like 3, 6, 9 months, when you go back in there, you very fast understand what the important decisions were making like this specific modular part of it. And then if the business reality at one point figured out that you need to change something, or that you need to improve something or add a new feature, it actually, the code base you have is already helping you, That's kind of like how Stripe was able to scale so big, because they had like very good, they could build on top of what they have already built. And with AI generated code, that was not remotely possible, because there are like so many small distinctions where it was not able to communicate intent through code. I'm not saying the code didn't work. The code had bugs too. Yeah, let's not lie. But also about communicating intent. And then I kept working on the code again, and it was really enjoyable. I kind of like felt ownership of my project again, and than when I build features. And I wanted to have like just one small side feature. I thought about it like in an abstraction way. I didn't like, like I can make it work, but it looked ugly to me. So I kept thinking, what is the right abstraction? What is the right naming for it? And whilst doing that, I realized, okay, this can actually be a greater set of features that I can just add in the future. And that's something, AI would have not done for me. It would have just like spaghettied it through my code base. And then when I think about the actual benefit that you, or the actual feature set that you have compared to other companies, I'm not sure AI is going to give you that. Everybody can code their own fitness app, but can you code a fitness app that is so good that it's winning on the market? Like that's a real question there is to me, right? And I suggest for everyone to, something, if you're an expert in something, like ask AI about that specific topic and still see how many like errors there are. And it reminds me a little bit of like my Hearthstone gaming times. So with Hearthstone, there are obviously, or every game, there are tutorials on YouTube, there are tutorials on Reddit, there are open discussions, there are streamers. There's various sources of like how you can learn to play it better, and also for teamfight tactic. But I was like, peaking at rank 100 Europe, and the reality was the strategy that was played in the top 100, or like to be really, really good, you had to be in contact with other people in that area, and you were doing a lot of like groundwork where you were either doing calculations on the side, or you were just exchanging experience or thoughts or strategy. And for poker, for example, like there's tons of poker strategy content out there. But if you really want to be so good that you make money online, there's no way around like you either go to coaches or you go to like deep communities and you really study that. Like there's no way in world, like I've had a poker school in the past. I was working with Raise Your Edge. There's no way, it's so far off, and when you don't know it, you don't see the realm of things. So even when people say I can build a Netflix clone, like that's not even 1%. Like Netflix is not about the front end. Netflix is about the whole back end, how to make it work on all platforms, how to make the entertainment deals. Like this is like what you want to do as a Netflix clone, right? You don't have any partnerships, you don't have any TV, like there's nothing. It doesn't work on the TV. It doesn't work on your phone, the app. Like the mode is not like having a front end, right? And I so far have seen very little vibe coded projects or workflow processes where I feel like there has been some really useful thing. And you could argue that AI is going to get better at that. I'm not certain. I also don't want to lock myself in, but there could be a world, I'm generally hoping for it a little bit, where I see the market is just like everybody's just trying to get an edge, and then like you're gonna get the edge like the moment till it's in the AI model. Some people already got the edge before. And you really just get it when you are like doing the groundwork, either optimizing whatever small things need to be done, domain specific business intelligence in your project. Like imagine a video game. You can let AI code a game for you, but there are so many games and only a few get very popular and make a lot of money. And to what comes it down very often like to small like human like decisions, either the gaming model, like the level model, or the game engine, or the balancing, all of that stuff. And it's very tough for AI to make it actually like to give the users that feeling. There's always that one side like where this is what it looks like, and then there's the other side, that is what's actually making it successful. And very often what is making it successful is not so openly communicated or in the market, because at the same time when that happens, it's already a little bit too late. So I still think AI is very great for exploration. We know it's very good at bug finding on scale, because it just can read way more than you can. It's good for comprehension, but it's not good for I don't think it's really good or recommended to use for as domain specific work. You should have a mental model of your project, whatever it is, in your mind, and know how to change things fast depending on what is needed on the market. Whatever, game engine, SaaS, scraper, whatever you want, you need to have it in your mind, and then understand how the individual pieces work together and what business decisions are made in between, and how to tune them to give, in the end, your users a better experience. And I think there's as much a chance that you're gonna deadlock yourself, you're kind of going fully on the wrong path with AI, with betting on AI, that it could be better that you just have AI open on the side, let it guide you, but take full ownership, write it all your own, fine tune it, so you're gonna have an agile code base that you can keep working on. Because not always in life what feels good is what is good. Eating a croissant feels good too, but it's not guaranteed that no, it's not. It's actually bad for you, right? It's really bad for you. So we have AI companies that sell you tokens for 10% of the price because they are heavily funded. They're obviously pushing a storyline out there. So OpenAI is telling you buy more tokens. Nvidia is doing it, and all of them obviously have an interest. But OpenAI just bought another serious company, but basically they're just buying the devs. So if AI is so good, why they're buying devs? Anthropic bought Bun, which was openly licensed. They could have just take it practically and keep working on it, but they needed the developers. So what they say and what they do, there's still a difference. I also have not seen major software improvements over the last couple of years. I know there's a bet, and it's a whole completely topic, and I might not be the best person to talk about it, on how AI is going to scale, but we are also reaching a compute cost limit, which might not be there soon. They're already heavily leveraged, and from my experience, my AI usage has gone drastically down, which would not help the AI bubble, because if people are using it less over time, and I think from what I see, the main usage is classification, comprehension, and just small pieces of AI that are built in a proper process, versus having super independent agents that work for a long time, because every small little piece is having cracks. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm not certain. I'm probably biased towards manual engineering. You also have to think about, if it's 10%, that manual engineering is the better decision. It's probably better to still do it, because probably 95% of people are betting on AI. So if AI is the better move, you have more competition. And then if 10 people trying to do the same thing, but you have something that you can extend more, you have an edge, right? So that's been my experience. If you have other experience, you can share in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. I hope this was helpful, as somebody who had a lot of time on his hands to code over the last couple of months, and has been in both camps and have no incentive to push the one or the other storyline. Thanks for watching. If you want more videos, give me a thumbs up or follow me, and see you soon.